If you own a recruitment firm and you do semi to high volume, or you have a large internal database, the way you work from when you get a new role or JD and you need to fill for that role, usually involves, seeping through these candidates in your internal database. If that's you, this is for you. So this is my 2 cents on how to properly use AI or agentic workflows or automations to properly solve this problem in a very logical manner, with actually the objective of minimizing the use of AI as much as possible. As that might sound contradictory based on what I do specifically, but here's my 2 cents. This is what I've learned. So I work with a bunch of recruitment firms, and I get to listen to the types of problems they experience, the ways in which they tried implementing AI to their workflows, and how it didn't work, usually failed. And these are some lessons from those discussions that I've had. And to me, it seems relatively obvious, but to other firms and founders or chief of operations, usually it's not so evident. So here it is. Yeah. So quite simply, before you try and implement any form of AI or agentic workflows or automations, you need to make sure your data is really well enriched and well set up, and the data flows between the relevant tools is there and it's set up. So for example, when it comes to the specific problem of candidate sourcing, when you get a new role, you want to have your candidate records in the CRM that you're using. So you might be using Salesforce or Recruit with Atlas or JobAdder or Bullhorn or any other CRM, right, that you hold candidate data in. You need to make sure all of those candidate records are properly enriched. Usually the issue with the enrichment happens because, the candidate sends through a resume. That resume isn't parsed accurately, so you don't have the proper data points from the resume to enrich the contact records. And so when you try to properly use like an agentic workflow, an automated system, or a search and filter function to filter for the right candidates and generate a shortlist for that role that you need to fill. That's like, if you don't solve that properly, then it's just not gonna work out well, and you're gonna have a bunch of issues, and it just won't work because you need to solve the data problem first. So step one, solve that. Then you can start properly thinking about how to automate the actual shortlisting process. So assuming you have that set up properly, to enable you to generate a shortlist relatively quickly based on an internal database, or even if you're running Seek ads or ads anywhere to generate applications, and it's being automatically fed into, let's say, your CRM. For example, let's use Salesforce here. If it's automatically coming in, you want to make sure you automatically, again, enrich each record that goes into your CRM. Once that's done, the next question is, how do you properly build a search and function system such that it accurately produces a shortlist that a recruiter or an account manager can review, and just speeds up the process to the point they actually contact them and put them on the interview. So step one is you need to clearly define the criteria per role that you're filling and what parameters you need to take into consideration. And the goal here is to determine what does a good candidate look like? What are the criteria? What are the characteristics? Based on the data that you can very likely access, or if not, access through resume, for example, you'll need to preferably ask them questions upstream, perhaps in the application form or whatever, right? Once you have that, step two is to create a hard filter on the specific criteria that are non-negotiables. Perhaps it pertains to licensing, location, credentials, etc. It's if they don't have these, then there's no reason to even consider them for a shortlist. Step three from there is you then want to add an LLM to basically digest all their data, resume, everything that has access to form an understanding of whether or not this candidate is a high likelihood of filling a specific role. So you're adding a judgment layer there, and you want to create, again, a scoring or tiering system, so that the shortlist is going to be tiered based on 1, 2, or 3. one being the highly qualified best fit, and the three being, they're barely just making it. And then, so once that's done, then it goes to the account manager or recruiter, really. Then what you want to do is you want to give them the ability to give feedback on the actual candidates that have been shortlisted, whether it's been a good candidate, or if it's not, and why, so that feedback essentially enables you to optimize the system such that the next time a shortlist is generated, it is aligned with that specific role. What you can also do, if you have a history in your CRM of the type of candidates you place for specific roles, is you can actually search through all of it and then figure out a pattern of why these specific candidates were chosen for these specific roles. And then from that, you can actually understand the human judgment that was used to try and figure out who the best fit for this role was. And then that itself is a pattern that you can embed into an LLM or the agentic part of the system to select for the best type of candidates and generate the most accurate shortlist. Once you have that system set up, it's basically you get a new role, and within less than 60 seconds, you'll generate a high quality shortlist. So that's what we do. If you feel like these are the type of problems you face or experience in your firm, we do this at scale. So even if you're a boutique executive firm and you feel like you want to improve your candidate sourcing process, we do create bespoke solutions for that as well. If you have a large internal database, you want to leverage it, or even if you have an external sort of sources that you want to use to find candidates, we also do that. That's really it. Hopefully you found this valuable. Again, just thought I'd share my 2 cents of what I've experienced and the discussions I've had. Have a great day.